Hey YouTube, hope you're doing well today. It's been a pretty good week this week. We've gotten a lot done. Hoping to put out a couple of videos this week. One on a CJ5 that we just finished and got out of the shop. And then this video, which is on the building of a project for a very special cause. As most of you know, I'm a firefighter, and about this time last year, I competed in a firefighter combat challenge and memorial stair climb. Well, that event's coming up again in a week or two, and we've been asked to donate another silent auction item to give to that to try to help raise money for the Children's Burn Foundation. So, in keeping with the theme of firefighting and something odd and unique, I decided to do a different lamp. Last year I did a lamp that was a fire extinguisher. It was a copper fire extinguisher. We polished it and put a lamp fixture in it, and it was really nice, but I wanted to do something a little unusual this year. Some of you may have seen the burlesque lights or lamps where it's a leg and a fishnet stocking, and then it's got the light fixture on top. And I thought, man, something like that might be kind of funny, kind of neat. So we're actually going to take an old turnout boot that we no longer wear. It's been taken out of use, and we're going to turn it into a lamp. So follow along. It's a neat process. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. And there's some things I'll talk about at the end that I would change if I do this again. So follow along. Hope you enjoy.
So there's the boot. Sorry for the noise in the background. We've coated it with one coat of high gloss epoxy. As you can see, we've got the pipe down the middle of it that the wiring will run through. I've poured, I doubt you can see down in there. Nah, it's pretty like, I've already poured one pouring of epoxy. You can only pour this in 2 to 4 inches. So I've mixed up another batch, and we're fixing to pour it in. Now, if you're doing this for like epoxy furniture or something where the epoxy is going to be seen, you can find a vacuum chamber for fairly cheap on the internet, and that will help push all the bubbles out of it, so you won't see the bubbles inside the epoxy. It'll just be a clear field of view. But for this, I'm not worried about the bubbles being in it because it's going to be down inside the boot. You won't see it. So that's what we were doing. We're going to fill the boot up to about this level right here, and then I'll pour red epoxy on top of it, and then we'll plumb it for the light fixture. So slowly but surely. As you can see, I've filled the boot about 3/4 of the way, maybe a little more, with epoxy. I've got a tube in there to run the electrical line through, and now I've epoxied the threaded rod in that the light socket will fit into. What we're going to do now is we're going to mix a metallic into the epoxy. It's called dark red, and we'll try to pour the rest of this with that so it gives it a good contrast. So this is the epoxy I'm using. It's a 2-part epoxy with a ratio of 2 parts of A to 1 part of B. You put it in and you mix it up for about 3 to 5 minutes. Pour it, and it sets in about 8 hours. So to this, I've added a pigment. It's called dark red metallic. This is not exactly what I was looking for. This looks more like a copper penny, a shiny copper penny, than the dark red I was hoping for. So I'm going to pour this, let it harden off, but I'm going to leave it probably a good ½ inch shy of the top of the boot. That way, if this does not turn out and darken up the way I want it to, I can come back and try to find another pigment that's closer to the red that I want. So this is almost stirred up. I'm going to finish stirring it, and then we're going to pour it in and go from there. Yeah, that's not red. All right, let's see what else we can do. All right, so this is the part of the kit that I got to do the light fixture with. It comes with a socket, and you can see it's got the connections here and here to put the wiring in. And it comes with this plug-in wiring that came with the kit. So there's a piece on the bottom of this that threads onto the threaded rod that's in the boot, and then this wire's pushed through it, and it connects to these two connection points, right? Whoops, sorry about that. These two connection points here, and then this presses down on the piece that's screwed onto the wire rod, and that completes the lamp. As you can see, there's your socket for your light bulb in there and the switch. So we'll get this put on, and then we'll have us a lamp. So as you can see, it was an interesting process. A couple things I would do different if I were to do this again. That boot is filled completely with epoxy. It ended up weighing about 10 pounds, so it's a fairly heavy lamp. If I ever do this again, we will put a sleeve inside the boot so that number one, it drops the weight, but number two, it also drops the cost. Pardon me. We went through 3 epoxy kits, and those kits were about $65 a piece. So fairly expensive project. It turned out really well. I'm really happy with the way it looks, but at the same time, I probably could have cut it down to 1 to 1.5 kits if I had put a hollow cylinder inside of it to take up some of that volume. So if I do it again, that will definitely be something that happens. The other thing, along the bottom of the boot, when we poured the outside to give it that high gloss sheen, we put a board down, we put clear shipping tape on it so that the epoxy wouldn't absorb into the board and stick to it. But as the overflow came off of the boot and onto the tape, it created like a foot, and we had to go back with a utility knife and a grinder on a Dremel and clean all that up so there wouldn't be any jagged edges and you wouldn't see it. So that's something that I didn't show on the video, but that's what we had to do. So it's a neat project. I really hope it brings a decent price at the auction. It doesn't look like anything really spectacular, but it's definitely different, it's unique, and I think any firefighter
would think it's pretty cool. So I appreciate y'all watching. I hope you enjoyed. We've got a couple of new subscribers, and I greatly appreciate y'all coming along for the journey. Hey, y'all, I know what I video isn't for everybody. I do a very eclectic mix of things. I heard somebody in YouTube say, if you want to be successful, even if you don't, if you want to do this, film the stuff you enjoy, film the stuff you like. And so that's what I do. I do a little machining, I do a little automotive, I do a little of everything. And like I said, it may not be for everybody, but I do hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the time that's put into it. Other than that, I hope you're having a great day. God bless. Y'all take care. I'll see you on the next one.